Yeah, I mean, it's ugly. I mean, look, Casanova 2 times just accepted a plea deal in a RICO case. He's waiting to get sentenced. YFN Lucci is locked up over a RICO case. No plea deal. Has to go to trial. And, you know, God knows what's going to happen at that point.
I would just say fight it. Go to trial.
At this point, yeah, you got to fight it.
If you're innocent, fight it and go to trial.
Yeah. And I remember, you know, we have a lawyer, Mo Gangat, that comes in and talks about these cases. He said that this same case in New York would get thrown out. Even if it didn't, everyone would get bond. But in Atlanta, all 28 people are denied bond. They're all going to sit in jail.
Yeah, that means they have a lot more than you think they got. Because I don't care what state you go to. If they got real evidence, they're not letting you go.
Yeah.
So whatever that dude talking about, he must don't know what they got. Because, I mean, they're not going to embarrass themselves. These are high-profile influencers.
Yeah.
People's careers will be fucked if they made the wrong decision. So
that's a bunch of multi-millionaires sitting in county jail right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, believe me, these kids got the power to fight back.
Yeah.
So they have to have something to not give them bond. It's something there.
Well, yeah. I mean, like Boosie said, though, the reason why he doesn't think anyone's getting bond is that, you know.
I love Boosie, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
I fuck with Boosie, man.
Yeah. Y'all need to do some music together. I'll hook y'all up.
Yeah, hook me up. That's my nigga.
I'm going to hit him right after this. They say Akon wants to work with you. He said that you can't take 28 eggs and shake them and expect none of them to crack.
Absolutely. He's right.
I was like, man, I don't know, bro. Once it go to trial, you know, and I hear the evidence and see how bad it is. But like I told him, it's hard to put 28 eggs in a crate and shake all of them and none of them don't crack.
He's right.
He said they're keeping everyone there and just sitting around and saying, someone go and tell.
Vlad,
you don't need everyone to tell.
Vlad, can I tell you something?
Go ahead.
Boosie dead ass right. Why? Because there's 3 generations of certain street behavior. The 3rd generation back in the 70s, you wasn't cracking out a single egg.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't happening. They had specific codes that everybody abided by, and if you violated the code, it was repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that flew into the 80s. When all those gangsters in the 80s got either shot or put away, it was another generation that came in. Now, this generation inherited a little bit of that, but for the most part, they had their own mind too. So they had half and half going on, right? That generation went from early 90s into the 2000s. Now, from the early 80s to the 90s, from the 90s, the mid-generation from the 70s up into the 90s, when them gangsters got put away and some got shot and killed or whatever and went out, that generation that went into the 2000s, well, all that generation that grew up without a male figure or without a role model or without an OG. See, I was in the middle generation where there was half and half. We had our own mind, but we always went back to the OGs and got advice. Or we got permission before moving a certain kind of way. They'd be like, young blood, don't do this, don't do that, or nah, whatever. This generation didn't have no OGs. They had nothing. They had nobody to speak with. All they had was stories that other people told. Stories that rappers sang about that predicted the lives of the guys from the 80s that went away. So everybody wanted to be the 50 Cents of the world, or the Rick Rosses of the world, or the BMFs of the world. But these are guys that did real time, was real active, and made it popular enough for you to know about it to put it in your record. Then this generation, which didn't know, they knew the concept of what a gangster was, but they didn't know how to be one. They didn't know the rules that came with it. The first rule is to keep your mouth shut. Period. Rule number 2, you never roll deep in any kind of caper. If you ain't doing it by yourself, because you're never gonna squeal on yourself. If you can't do it by yourself, you gotta make sure you can do it with somebody that you know for a fact is willing to die with you.
Some people squeal on themselves, but
But I mean, no, but these are rules that they don't know.
Yeah.
clearly, because they confessing on records.
Yeah.
They confessing. Nobody don't need to snitch on you. You told it. You said it all. Because you want everybody to know that you this gangster. So it ain't no secret that in Atlanta they got all this evidence. They listening to the songs and hearing, and then they corroborating it with real investigations. And it's all coming back true. So if half these guys are who they really say on these records, they're in trouble. But if they not, then they got a shot.